I am working on a few new features and I'm here to give you a sneak peek. First, I'm adding new aspect ratio and framing settings to all image elements. Additionally, I'm adding group preset support to all image option groups and harmonizing all of the available options for all image elements. So first, let me show you how the aspect ratio and framing settings work. I have 3 person modules here and each has an image with a different aspect ratio, and I want them all to be the same size and the same aspect ratio, and I want them to be squares. So how could I do that? Well, I could adjust the image height to approximate a square, but that has a couple problems. One, it squishes the images, and on different breakpoints, the static height I set of 320 pixels stays the same while the width changes with the width of the container. So it's not maintaining the aspect ratio, and it's going to be a different size on every device. That's not what I want. So instead, I could use the new aspect ratio setting, which you see here, and I can give this an aspect ratio of 1:1, which makes it equal height and width. And now you'll see that this is a square on every device. As the width sizes down, the height sizes down in proportion based on the aspect ratio. Now the image is still squished within that 1:1 frame, but we can adjust that with the new framing settings. And here I can decide how that image fills that new 1:1 frame that I gave it. And instead of fill, I can choose cover, which will cause the image to expand proportionally until it covers all the available size there. And then I can adjust the position of the image within that frame. So in this case, I just want it focused on her face, so it already looks pretty good. In addition to these new aspect ratio and framing settings, I also added group preset support for the image option group, which means I can turn this square aspect ratio and framing into a preset. Before we do that, let's style this up a bit more. I'll give it a border and a little box shadow. And now we can choose new preset from current styles, and I'll call this square border, save. And then I can apply that preset to any other module with an image, and it's gonna get that aspect ratio, that square aspect ratio, the border, and the box shadow. And then on top of that, I can adjust the framing. So this image is a much longer image and the person is way over here on the right, so I can adjust the framing. Same here, I can reposition this woman more towards the center. And there we go. So it makes it a lot easier to manage the style of your images across your whole website thanks to these new image presets. Additionally, all modules with images now have the same set of settings, which means you can adjust every aspect of the image throughout the entire collection of Divi modules. Additionally, I am enabling composable settings for all image option groups, which means you can enable any of Divi's design options in addition to these ones that are enabled by default. For example, if I wanted to enable transforms for this module, I could turn it on and then transform the image. So you really do have complete control now over the style of your images, and you can turn those styles into presets. Another great thing about these upcoming aspect ratio settings is that they are available for all modules and they aren't only useful for images. For example, I have these 3 columns with different background colors and I want them to all be square on every device. So how could I achieve that? Well, I could go into the row and set the align items to stretch to make them all the same height, but that won't make them squares. You see they're changing on every device, and when you get down to mobile, when they break to column structure, then they're not the same height anymore. But I could fix this using aspect ratio. So I could go into this column and then just set the aspect ratio to 1:1. And I could extend this to the other columns. And so now all of these columns have the 1:1 aspect ratio, and they're going to maintain that aspect ratio on every device. So that's what I'm working on: new aspect ratio and framing settings, option group presets for images, option harmonization and composable settings for all image elements. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think this is going to be a great update.